Three things you should know about Jamie Martinez. First, they had never successfully invented anything useful in their entire 10 years of existence. Second, this fact had never once discouraged them from trying. And third, they were about to accidentally save the human race with the dumbest invention in history. "Jamie, what happened to my coffee maker?" Maria Martinez stood in the kitchen doorway, hands on her hips, staring at the empty counter where her beloved morning necessity had once lived. "It's part of my new project," Jamie's voice echoed from the garage, followed by a concerning series of clanks and whirs. "I'm calling it the Breakfast Buddy 3000. Maria closed her eyes and counted to 10, a habit she'd developed shortly after Jamie had disassembled their first household appliance at age 6. "Honey, we talked about this. You need to ask before you borrow things for your inventions." "But Mum, this one's going to work. It makes coffee and toast and scrambled eggs all at the same time." "And how's that going?" A loud pop came from the garage, followed by the distinct smell of burning rubber. The toast part needs some adjusting." What neither Jamie nor Maria knew was that at that exact moment, their conversation was being monitored by the Galactic Confederation's Advanced Technology Acquisition Division, or GATAD for short. Though to be fair, GATAD was monitoring pretty much everyone on Earth, having determined through careful analysis of human internet traffic that this primitive planet was secretly harboring technological innovations that could revolutionize the galaxy. High above Earth's atmosphere, First Observer Plix adjusted their sensory appendages and made another note in their report. Subject Martinez continues work on mysterious multifunction nutrient preparation device. Initial analysis suggests highly advanced fusion of thermal application and liquid dispensing technologies. Possibility of weaponization, 87% DE. Plix's superior Ambassador Crix floated nearby, their bioluminescent spots pulsing with excitement. "Excellent. These humans are cleverer than they appear. They hide their most advanced technology in the guise of primitive domestic devices operated by their young as a form of camouflage. Most ingenious." Down in the garage, Jamie was desperately trying to extinguish a small fire in what used to be their mum's coffee maker. The Breakfast Buddy 3000 had turned out to be more of a breakfast disaster 3000. But Jamie remained undeterred. After all, every great inventor had setbacks. Thomas Edison didn't get the light bulb right on his first try, and he probably set lots of things on fire too. "Note the deliberate destruction of the device," Plix observed. "Clearly a security measure to prevent the technology from falling into unauthorized hands." By lunchtime, Jamie had successfully transformed the remains of the coffee maker, 2 toasters, and an egg beater into something that looked like it had escaped from a kitchen appliance horror movie. Wires stuck out at odd angles, toast crumbs littered the workbench, and the whole contraption made an ominous humming sound even when it wasn't plugged in. "What do you think?" Jamie asked their dad, Carlos, who had come to investigate the burning smell. Carlos Martinez, a man who had learned to choose his words very carefully when it comes to his child's inventions, studied the device. "It's certainly unique. But maybe we should stick to making breakfast the old-fashioned way, one appliance at a time." "But that's so inefficient. This way everything's ready at exactly the same moment." "Well, it will be once I figure out why the eggs keep getting launched at the ceiling." In their observation vessel, Ambassador Crix was practically vibrating with anticipation. "The young one speaks of launching capabilities. Plix, update the weapon's potential assessment to 95%. "Already done, Ambassador. Should I alert the Confederation Council?" "Not yet. We must observe further. These humans are crafty. They may have even more advanced technology hidden in other household devices. Have you analyzed their waste disposal units?" "You mean their garbage disposals, already catalogued as potential matter disintegration devices?" "Ambassador." As the sun set on another day of failed invention attempts, Jamie sat at their workbench, surrounded by the scattered remains of what had once been several perfectly functional appliances. Most kids would have given up by now. Most kids would have stuck to normal hobbies like sports or video games or collecting rocks. But Jamie Martinez wasn't most kids. They pulled out their invention notebook filled with drawings and diagrams that would have given their mother's coffee maker nightmares had it still been intact enough to have them. "Tomorrow," Jamie muttered, sketching out a new design. "Tomorrow it'll work for sure." Above Earth, Plix and Ambassador Crix watched with growing excitement, completely misinterpreting every aspect of what they were seeing. The Galactic Confederation had no idea what they were about to get themselves into, all because they'd managed to find the one kid on Earth whose failed inventions would accidentally prove to be humanity's greatest defense against alien technology thieves. But that part comes later. First there would be toast. So much toast. The next morning, Jamie was in the backyard with version 2.0 of the Breakfast Buddy. This iteration involved a bicycle, 3 rubber bands, and the remains of their older sister's hairdryer. The neighbor's cat watched from the fence with an expression that suggested it was questioning every life choice that had led it to this moment. "Okay, test number 1, Jamie announced to nobody in particular, unless you count the cat, which had already seen enough of Jamie's inventions to know it should probably find a different fence to sit on. Initiating toast sequence. It was at precisely this moment that Ambassador Crix decided to make first contact with humanity. In retrospect, they probably should have consulted with someone about proper first contact protocols, but Gattard had a reputation for being somewhat over-eager when it came to acquiring new technology. The air in Jamie's backyard suddenly shimmered like a heat wave, and with a sound somewhere between a pop and a hiccup, 2 figures appeared. One was tall and willowy, with iridescent skin that changed colors like a mood ring having an existential crisis. The other was shorter and rounder, with what appeared to be tiny galaxies swirling beneath their translucent surface. Jamie stared at the aliens stared at Jamie. The neighbor's cat decided this was definitely its cue to leave. "Greetings, young human inventor," the taller alien announced in perfect English, though their voice sounded like it was coming through a drive-through speaker with a bad connection. "I am Ambassador Crix of the Galactic Confederation, and this is First Observer Plix. We come in peace, seeking to establish diplomatic relations and mutually beneficial technology exchange programs." Jamie looked from the aliens to their half-finished invention and back again. "Did my breakfast buddy just explode so hard it summoned aliens?" "Oh no," Plix assured them, consulting what appeared to be a holographic tablet. "We've been monitoring your technological development for some time. We're particularly impressed with your innovative approach to combining multiple functional units into single advanced devices." "You mean like this?" Jamie gestured to the contraption behind them, which chose that exact moment to shoot a piece of slightly smoking bread into the air. Ambassador Crix tracked its arc with all 3 of their eyes, clearly impressed by the ballistic capabilities of Earth's breakfast technology. "Exactly," Crix exclaimed. "Your species' habit of disguising advanced technology as simple food preparation devices is most ingenious. We've been studying your internet archives extensively to understand your culture." "You've been studying our internet?" Jamie asked, suddenly concerned about what exactly these aliens might have learned about humanity from that particular source of information. "Oh yes," Plix nodded enthusiastically, their swirling galaxies spinning faster. "We've learned all about your civilization through your primary information-sharing platforms, YouTube comments, Reddit threads, and something called Twitter, though we're still trying to decode the meaning of ratio plus L plus no maidens." Jamie opened their mouth to explain, then thought better of it. "So, you want our technology?" "Indeed." Ambassador Crix's color shifted to what Jamie assumed was their version of excited purple. "The Galactic Confederation is most interested in establishing a trade agreement. We offer in exchange some of our own modest technological achievements." They produced what looked like a small crystal from somewhere within their shimmering form. "What's that?" Jamie asked, momentarily distracted from the fact that they were having a casual conversation with aliens in their backyard. "Oh, just a simple 0-point energy generator capable of powering your entire continent," Crix said dismissively. "Nothing compared to your impressive breakfast-based weapons systems, of course." Jamie looked at their cobbled-together invention, which was now making a sound like a washing machine trying to blend rocks, then back at the alien holding literal unlimited energy in their hand. Something didn't add up here. "Tell me more about this trade agreement," Jamie said slowly, an idea beginning to form. "After all, when aliens show up in your backyard offering advanced technology in exchange for your failed science project, you either run screaming or lean into the absurdity of the situation. And Jamie Martinez had never been much for running." "Of course," Crix brightened, literally and figuratively. "We'll need to examine your most advanced technology centers, your research facilities, your military installations, your IKEA restaurants." "IKEA restaurants?" Jamie interrupted. "Yes, we're particularly interested in how you've managed to weaponize something called a meatball." At that moment, Jamie's mom's voice called from inside the house. "Jamie, what was that explosion? If you've blown up another toaster." "Quick," Jamie whispered urgently to the aliens. "My mom can't see you yet. Can we meet somewhere later to talk about this trade agreement?" Ambassador Crix and First Observer Plix exchanged what might have been meaningful looks, though it was hard to tell when one of them was basically a mood ring and the other was full of galaxies. "Very well, young human, we shall reconvene at this location when your star next reaches its apex. Bring your most impressive technological achievements." With another pop hiccup, the aliens vanished, leaving Jamie alone in the backyard with a smoking breakfast buddy and a lot of questions. The biggest one being, why were supposedly advanced aliens so impressed by broken kitchen appliances? The neighbor's cat, having decided the coast was clear, returned to its perch on the fence, giving Jamie a look that clearly said, "You're going to investigate this obviously suspicious situation, aren't you?" Jamie grinned at the cat. "Well, somebody has to figure out what's really going on. And who better than the kid who once turned a microwave into a robot that only spoke in pizza cooking instructions?" The cat sighed as much as a cat can sigh and settled in to watch. This was either going to be very entertaining or very disastrous, and either way, it had a front-row seat. Jamie spent the rest of the morning doing what any self-respecting 10-year-old would do after meeting aliens: research. And by research, they meant watching every alien invasion movie they could find on their older sister Elena's laptop while she was at soccer practice. "So according to these documentaries," Jamie muttered, taking notes in their invention notebook, "aliens either want to eat us, enslave us, or steal our natural resources. But these guys just want our broken toasters." A quick internet search for Galactic Confederation scams turned up nothing but conspiracy theory websites and something about space lizards running the government. Not helpful. But Jamie had noticed something odd about Ambassador Crix's behavior. The alien had dismissed their own unlimited energy device like it was a dollar store battery, while acting like Jamie's breakfast disasters were the height of technological achievement. It reminded Jamie of that time their cousin tried to trade a rare Pokemon card for Jamie's actually rare one, acting like he was doing Jamie a favor. The card turned out to be fake, and Jamie learned an important lesson about people who seem too eager to make trades. "Time for some real investigation," Jamie announced to their room full of half-finished inventions. They pulled out their most spectacular failure to date, the Homework Helper 5000. A contraption that was supposed to automatically solve math problems but instead just drew random doodles all over their assignments. Perfect. At noon, right as the sun reached its apex, the aliens reappeared in Jamie's backyard with their signature pop hiccup sound. This time they'd brought friends. "Our young human." Ambassador Crix's skin rippled with what might have been excitement or indigestion. "Allow me to introduce Technical Analyst Drix and Security Coordinator Vix. They're here to help evaluate your technological offerings." Jamie noticed that Drix seemed to be made entirely of floating geometric shapes that occasionally rearranged themselves, while Vix looked like a thundercloud having a bad hair day. Both were eyeing the Homework Helper 5000 with what appeared to be barely contained excitement. "Before we start," Jamie said, trying to sound casual, "I was wondering if you could tell me more about other planets you've traded with." The aliens exchanged quick glances. Too quick. Jamie had seen that same look pass between Eleanor and their parents when they were trying to hide the fact that they'd eaten all the cookies. "Oh, many worlds," Plix said vaguely, their internal galaxies spinning a bit faster. All very primitive compared to Earth, of course. None of them had mastered the art of combining breakfast preparation with ballistic capabilities. Uh-huh, Jamie nodded, pretending to adjust something on the homework helper. And what did you trade them for their technology? Simple cultural artifacts, Crix waved a shimmering appendage dismissively. Religious totems, ceremonial devices, primitive weapons. And what happened to those planets after you left? This time the glance between the aliens was more like a panic signal. They prospered. Yes, absolutely prospered. Now, about your remarkable device. But Jamie was already putting the pieces together. They might be only 10, but they'd watched enough sci-fi movies to spot a classic alien scam when they saw one. These weren't diplomats. They were basically space pawnshop owners traveling around the galaxy, tricking primitive species into trading away their actually valuable technology for shiny trinkets. One more question, Jamie said, holding up the homework helper 5000. What exactly do you think this does? Why, it's clearly a quantum computational matrix with integrated AI capabilities. Technical analyst Drix's shapes rearranged themselves into what might have been a smile. The random pattern generation is obviously a security feature to prevent unauthorized access to its vast processing power. Jamie looked at their invention, which had just drawn a cat wearing sunglasses on their math homework. Right. And my breakfast buddy? A masterpiece of weaponized food preparation technology, Security Coordinator Vix rumbled. The way it launches projectiles with such unpredictable trajectories. Genius. That's when Jamie noticed something else. While the aliens were focused on their demonstrations, Plix was quietly scanning other items in the yard, with a device that looked suspiciously like the price-checking scanners at the grocery store. The garden hose scanned. Dad's old rake scanned. Even the wind chimes got a once-over. They weren't just after Jamie's inventions, they were cataloguing everything, probably trying to figure out what else they could trick humans into trading away. And based on their spectacular misunderstanding of human technology, they'd probably end up stealing all the wrong things. Jamie had to do something. But who would believe a kid claiming that aliens were trying to steal Earth's technology? Especially when said kid was known for turning household appliances into semi-functional disasters. Their parents? No, Mum was still mad about the coffee maker, and Dad would just give that patient smile he always did when Jamie talked about their inventions. The police? Hello, officer. Some aliens just tried to buy my broken toaster because they think it's a weapon. Yeah, that would go well. The government? Jamie had watched enough movies to know how that would turn out. Men in black suits would show up, everything would get very complicated, and somehow the aliens would end up stealing all of Earth's coffee makers anyway. No, this was something Jamie would have to handle themselves. And as they watched Ambassador Crix coo over the brilliant engineering of a deflated basketball they'd found in the corner of the yard, an idea began to form, a wonderful, terrible, absolutely ridiculous idea. After all, if these aliens wanted Earth's most advanced technology so badly, who was Jamie to disappoint them? The neighbor's cat, still watching from its fence, recognized the gleam in Jamie's eye. It was the same look they got right before something exploded. The cat decided it might be time to find a more distant observation post, preferably one in the next county. After the aliens left with promises to return the next day for a formal technology exchange ceremony, Jamie got to work. They had approximately 24 hours to save Earth from becoming the galaxy's biggest garage sale, and they were going to need help. First stop, next door to visit their best friend and fellow chaos enthusiast, Alex Wong. So let me get this straight, Alex said, sitting cross-legged on their bedroom floor surrounded by dismantled electronics. Aliens want to steal Earth's technology, but they're so bad at understanding what anything does that they think your breakfast buddy is a weapon of mass destruction. Pretty much, Jamie nodded. They're like those people who buy empty iPhone boxes on eBay, thinking they're getting a real phone, except they're trying to scam an entire planet. And you want to build something so ridiculous that it'll convince them to leave Earth alone? Exactly. But it has to look impressive enough that they'll believe it's our most advanced technology. That's where you come in. You're the only person I know who's better at making things look cool than I am at making things explode. Alex grinned. I'm in, but we're going to need more help. And supplies. Lots of supplies. Operation Save Earth Through Superior Confusion, as Jamie dubbed it, went into full swing. The neighborhood kids were recruited one by one, each bringing their own special brand of chaos to the mix. Miguel from 3 houses down was a master of LED lights and could make anything look like it came straight out of a sci-fi movie. His contribution? Making sure their device would have enough blinking lights to impress even the most gullible alien. Lisa Chen, the 13-year-old computer whiz who lived across the street, programmed a series of impressively meaningless displays on several salvaged tablet screens. I just took a bunch of random code and made it scroll really fast, she explained. Add some Matrix-style green text and boom, instant high-tech look. Even Tommy Baker, whose only real skill was making extremely loud and annoying noises, was brought in. Just do what you normally do, Jamie told him, but try to make it sound more scientific. The base of operations was set up in Jamie's garage, which their parents had surrendered to their inventing hobby long ago in the hopes of saving the rest of the house. The central piece of their plan was something Jamie was calling the Universal Parallel Processing Entropy Reducer and Breakfast Optimization Matrix, or as Alex suggested they abbreviate it, the Upper Bomb. It needs to look important, Jamie explained to their assembled team, but also so complicated that they won't want to risk taking it apart to see how it works. Like my dad's car engine, Miguel suggested. He says half the parts could probably fall off and it'd still run, but he's afraid to touch anything because it might explode. Exactly like that. The upper bomb took shape over the next several hours. At its heart was Jamie's original breakfast buddy, now enhanced with parts from 3 different video game consoles, the screen from a broken laptop, and what used to be a disco ball. Lisa's scrolling code displayed on strategically placed screens gave it an air of complex computation, while Miguel's LEDs made the whole thing pulse with mysterious importance. But what does it actually do? Tommy asked, taking a break from practicing his scientific sound effects. Nothing, Jamie grinned, and everything. See, I've been thinking about how these aliens operate. They don't actually understand our technology. They just want to steal what they think is valuable. So we're going to give them exactly what they expect, something that looks super advanced, but is actually completely useless. Like cryptocurrency, Lisa suggested. Kind of, but with more flashing lights and a lot more toast. The final touch was Alex's suggestion, official-looking warning labels in multiple languages, including several they made up. Caution. Quantum field displacement may cause temporal paradox or burnt toast, read one. Warning, do not operate without proper timeline insurance, warned another. As the sun began to set, Jamie gathered their co-conspirators for a final briefing. Remember, tomorrow when the aliens show up, we need to act like this is the most important and dangerous device ever created. Tommy, that's your cue to make those weird noises you've been practicing. The ones that sound like a dolphin fighting a robot. Perfect, Miguel. The lights need to be extra flashy when Ambassador Crix gets close, but not so flashy that they can actually see what's inside. Lisa, make sure your code looks extra incomprehensible. And Alex? I know. Keep adding more warning labels. I just finished one in Elvish. Jamie looked at their creation, which somehow managed to look both incredibly sophisticated and absolutely ridiculous at the same time. It was, without a doubt, the most impressive piece of completely useless technology they'd ever built. And if their plan worked, it was going to save the entire planet. The neighbor's cat, which had been watching the proceedings from a safe distance, gave what might have been an approving nod. It had seen enough of Jamie's inventions to know that this one was special. Not because it would work, it definitely wouldn't, but because for once that was exactly the point. As the team packed up for the night, Alex pulled Jamie aside. You know, even if this doesn't work, it's probably the coolest thing we've ever built. Yeah, Jamie agreed. And hey, if we fail, at least we'll go down in history as the kids who tried to save Earth with a fake breakfast machine. That's assuming the aliens don't steal all our history books too. Tomorrow would be the moment of truth. Either their plan would work and Earth would be saved by the power of creative uselessness, or they'd have to explain to their parents why all the toasters in the neighborhood had been abducted by aliens. Jamie looked at the upper bomb one last time before closing the garage. In the dim light, with its gently blinking LEDs and softly humming displays, it really did look like it could do anything. And maybe, just maybe, by doing absolutely nothing at all, it would do exactly what they needed it to do. The next morning dawned bright and clear, perfect weather for saving the world with a fake breakfast machine. Jamie and their team assembled in the garage an hour before the aliens were due to arrive, making last-minute adjustments to the upper bomb. More lights, Miguel insisted, adding another strip of LEDs to what was already starting to look like a mobile disco unit. More warnings, Alex called out, slapping on a label that read, "Danger! Quantum entanglement may cause spontaneous waffle generation." Lisa sat cross-legged on the floor, typing furiously on her laptop. "I just added some code that makes random toast-related words appear in binary. No one can prove that's not how quantum computing works, right?" Tommy was in the corner, practicing his sound effects. He'd somehow managed to combine the noise of a dial-up modem with what sounded like a cat learning to play the theremin. At exactly noon, the familiar pop hiccup announced the aliens' arrival. This time, they'd brought what appeared to be their entire department. The backyard was suddenly full of shimmering, glowing, and geometrically impossible beings, all staring at Jamie's garage with their various sensory appendages. "Young human inventor," Ambassador Crix called out, their skin cycling through colors faster than a traffic light having a seizure. "We have brought the full Technology Acquisition Committee to witness this historic exchange." Jamie stepped forward, trying to channel their inner mad scientist. "Ambassador Crix, honored members of the committee, thank you for coming to this demonstration of Earth's most advanced technology." "Before we begin," First Observer Plix interrupted, their internal galaxies swirling anxiously, "our preliminary scans have detected some unusual energy signatures from your device." "Oh yes," Jamie nodded seriously. "The upper bomb does tend to have that effect on scanning equipment. Something about the quantum parallel processing matrices interfering with standard detection methods." Technical analyst Drix's geometric shapes rearranged themselves into what might have been a confused expression. "Quantum parallel? Processing matrices?" "Of course," Lisa chimed in right on cue. "How else would you manage the temporal displacement necessary for optimal toast trajectory calculations?" The aliens huddled together, having a quick discussion in their own language, which sounded like jazz music being played backwards underwater. Jamie caught words like advanced and unprecedented, and something that might have been toast but could also have been most dangerous weapon in the galaxy. Ambassador Crix turned back to Jamie. "Perhaps a demonstration?" "Of course, but first the safety protocols." Jamie gestured to Alex, who stepped forward with a stack of papers covered in the most official-looking gibberish they could create. "As you can see by these technical specifications, the upper bomb requires careful handling to prevent any incidents involving temporal paradoxes or overdone toast." The aliens passed the papers around, looking increasingly impressed by the completely meaningless diagrams and equations the kids had drawn. Security Coordinator Vix's storm cloud appearance started sparking with what might have been excitement or indigestion. "Now," Jamie continued, "if you'll all step back to a safe distance, we wouldn't want anyone getting caught in the quantum breakfast field. We can begin." On cue, Tommy started making his special sound effects, a combination that suggested a washing machine was trying to teach calculus to a group of dolphins. Miguel's lights began their carefully choreographed sequence, while Lisa's screens displayed rapidly scrolling strings of breakfast-related binary code. The upper bomb hummed to life, its various salvaged parts creating a symphony of technological chaos. The disco ball segment spun, throwing patterns of light across the gathered aliens' increasingly agitated forms. The original breakfast buddy component, true to form, shot a piece of toast into the air with enough force to suggest it was trying to achieve orbit. "Remarkable," gasped one of the committee members, ducking as the toast sailed overhead. "The propulsion capabilities alone. And observe the complex algorithms," another noted, staring at Lisa's screens where the word pancake had just scrolled past in binary. Jamie moved around the device with practiced importance, occasionally adjusting random knobs and pressing buttons that weren't connected to anything. Of course, this is just the basic demonstration model. The full-scale version would be capable of processing breakfast for an entire city, while simultaneously calculating the optimal crunch-to-fluff ratio for every piece of toast. "But why?" asked technical analyst Drix, their geometric shapes forming what appeared to be a question mark. "Why?" Jamie repeated, trying to sound shocked. "Why does any advanced civilization need to process breakfast at a quantum level? For the same reason we needed to develop quantum computing in the first place, to solve the age-old question that has plagued scientists for generations." They paused for dramatic effect, noting with satisfaction that every alien was leaning forward in anticipation. "How do you make the perfect piece of toast without creating a temporal paradox that could unravel the very fabric of space-time?" The aliens exploded into excited discussion, their various forms flickering and shifting with intensity. Jamie caught phrases like, "far more advanced than we thought," and "possibly too dangerous to risk moving," and "what if it creates a black hole made of toast?" Ambassador Crix raised several appendages for silence. "Young human, this device, it's far more sophisticated than anything we expected to find. The risks involved in attempting to transport such technology—" "Oh, it has to stay exactly where it is," Jamie said quickly. "Moving it would disrupt the careful calibration of its quantum breakfast matrices. Even looking at it wrong could cause a cascade failure in its temporal toasting circuits." Security Coordinator Vix's storm cloud appearance darkened. "Ambassador, might I suggest, perhaps Earth's technology is too advanced for safe acquisition at this time." "Indeed." Crix's colors had faded to a worried pale blue. "Young human, we must apologize, but I'm afraid we cannot proceed with the technology exchange as planned. The risks are simply too great." "But what about all our other technology?" Jamie asked innocently. "Surely you still want our coffee makers and toasters and—" "No," several aliens shouted at once. After seeing this, Ambassador Crix gestured at the upper bomb, which chose that moment to make a sound like a robot, hiccuping in binary. "It's clear that your civilization's approach to temporal culinary physics is far too advanced for our current capabilities. We'll need to reclassify Earth as a highly advanced civilization that should be left to develop without interference." "Are you sure?" Jamie pressed, fighting to keep a straight face. "We have some really interesting garbage disposals." "Quite sure." Crix's color had shifted to what might have been panic purple. "In fact, we should leave immediately before the quantum breakfast field affects our ship's systems. Plix, begin immediate evacuation procedures." The aliens started pop-hiccuping out of existence, each looking more relieved than the last to be escaping Earth's apparently terrifying breakfast technology. Just before Ambassador Crix disappeared, they turned to Jamie one last time. "Young human, your civilization's mastery of quantum gastronomy is truly terrifying. May your toast always fall butter side up." And with that they were gone, leaving behind nothing but a faint smell of ozone and one slightly singed piece of toast. The garage was silent for a moment, broken only by the gentle humming of the upper bomb's completely unnecessary systems and Tommy's trailing off sound effects. Then Lisa spoke up. "Did we just save Earth with a fake breakfast machine?" "I think," Jamie said slowly, "we just convinced a group of advanced aliens that Earth is too weird to mess with, which, when you think about it, might be the most human solution possible." The next morning, life in the neighborhood returned to what passed for normal, though normal had taken on a slightly different meaning now that they'd successfully fought off an alien invasion with a fake breakfast machine. Jamie sat at the kitchen table watching their mum make coffee with their new coffee maker, a peace offering bought with saved allowance money. The morning news droned on in the background, full of the usual stories about politics and weather, blissfully unaware that Earth had nearly become the galaxy's biggest yard sale. Any plans for today? Maria asked, taking a sip of her coffee and sighing contentedly. Besides turning kitchen appliances into science experiments? Jamie shared a knowing look with the neighbour's cat, which had returned to its usual observation post now that the threat of quantum toast-based destruction had passed. I thought I might take a break from inventing for a while. That lasted approximately 3 hours. By lunchtime, Jamie and their team had gathered in the garage again, this time with a new purpose. The upper bomb sat in the corner, still occasionally blinking and making suspicious noises, despite not being plugged in. So, Alex said, adding yet another warning label that read, "Caution, warranty void if universe implodes. What do we do with it now?" "We could dismantle it," Lisa suggested, though she didn't sound very enthusiastic about the idea. "Recycle the parts for other projects." "Or," Jamie said slowly, "we could make it actually work." Everyone stared at them. "Not the quantum breakfast physics part," Jamie clarified quickly. "But think about it. We accidentally built something so convincing that it fooled an advanced alien civilization. Maybe we're better at this than we thought. You want to turn our fake super-invention into a real super-invention?" Miguel asked, already reaching for his LED strips. "Why not? I mean, maybe the aliens were right about one thing. Humans are pretty good at coming up with weird solutions to problems. We just proved that sometimes the dumbest idea can be the best one." Tommy made a sound effect that somehow perfectly captured the sentiment of, "That's so crazy it just might work." Over the next few weeks, the upper bomb evolved. Lisa's fake code became real code, controlling a surprisingly efficient breakfast preparation system. Miguel's decorative lights turned into a practical user interface. Even Tommy's sound effects were incorporated into a voice command system, though it still occasionally made dolphin noises for no apparent reason. Word spread through the neighborhood about the amazing breakfast machine in the Martinez garage. Soon, there was a regular weekend crowd gathering for what became known as Quantum Toast Sundays, where people would bring random ingredients and see what the upper bomb would do with them. Jamie's parents, who had long since learned to roll with their child's inventive chaos, simply made sure to stock extra fire extinguishers and invested in really good home insurance. The neighbor's cat maintained its position as chief observer, though it now had to share the fence with several other neighborhood pets who'd developed a taste for toast that had been quantum processed, or at least processed by something that made interesting noises while flinging it across the garage. 1 month after the alien incident, Jamie received a peculiar package in the mail. Inside was a crystal that glowed with an inner light, and a note written in slightly wobbly English. "To the young human inventor, upon further analysis of our cultural exchange protocols, we realized we left behind one of our demonstration units. As Earth is now classified as a Type 4 civilization, quantum breakfast capable, you are entitled to keep this basic power generation crystal as a gesture of diplomatic courtesy. Please do not use it to enhance your toast-based technology any further. Regards, Ambassador Crix. P.S. Our scientists are still trying to understand how you managed to stabilize the temporal toast trajectory. Most impressive." Jamie looked at the 0-point energy crystal, then at the upper bomb, which had just produced a perfect batch of French toast while playing what sounded like jazz music performed by robots underwater. "You know what this means, right?" they asked the cat. The cat, which had seen enough mad science over the past month to last all 9 of its lives, just sighed and settled in to watch whatever chaos was about to unfold. Time to start working on lunch. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, the Galactic Confederation updated its official guidelines to include a new warning. Approach Earth with extreme caution. Their breakfast-based technology defies all known laws of physics. Also, they may have weaponized meatballs. The end. Though if you listen carefully on quiet mornings, you can still hear Tommy practicing his quantum physics sound effects, which now sound like a choir of robots trying to teach calculus to a pod of dolphins while making breakfast.